Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss about the topic as IPv4 addressing and subnetting. Okay, this is the main topic of the fourth module. Okay, under this IPv4 addressing and subnetting, okay, I am going to discuss the topics are DHCP, NAT, NAT, as well as the classful and CIDR addressing. And what is this everything? Okay, I am going to discussing in detail in next slide. Yes. See here the CIDR addressing, okay, which is nothing but it is one of the classes interdomain routing. Okay, here like we are going to use for three classes. Okay, three classes, that is class A, class B and class C. And like basically like this classes interdomain routing, okay, is an IP addressing schema, and they are going to improve the allocations of the IP address, okay, which is going to replace the old system. Okay, that old system's IP address, okay, they are going to based on the class A, class B, or it may be a class C address. Okay, this type of like schema we are going to call it as the IPv4 classful and CIDR addressing. And like I told, right, here like we are going to solve a number of problems with this classes based IP address. In this classes IP address, okay, they are going to classified into three classes. One is class A, class B and class C. Here like class A, okay, like the overall 16 millions of the host identifier, okay, they can use the class A. And class B, okay, it is going to use for 65,535 host identifier, okay, they are going to use the class B address. And class C address, okay, only 254 host identifier, okay, they are going to use the class C address. Okay, here like the problem would be commonly occur when an organization, okay, required more than 254 host machines, and like therefore, okay, what is that, like it is not should be a longer than, okay, they are going to fall into the class C, but it should be rather than the class B. Okay, well, like this means like which is means the organization, okay, would uses the class B, it is going to uses the class B address, okay, but it have very it should be a like very lesser than the 65,535 host. Okay, therefore they are going to like use for the 2,500, okay, extra host identifier. Okay, because of that, okay, the class B, okay, they are going to use class instead of class C, okay, they are going to use for the class B here. Then I am going to tell about the how the CIDR addressing, okay, they are going to works. See the CIDR, okay, addressing, okay, they are going to use for basically it should be a variable length, okay, a variable length of the addressing. And okay, it is going to allows the predefined as well as the arbitrary length of the addressing. Okay, that should be it is going to give more efficiency of the old system address. Okay, because the old system like they are going to considering the like class A, class B and class B. Okay, we cannot able to predict that address, but it is going to like the length of the arbitrary length. Okay, they are going to defining prefixing the arbitrary length of the addressing, that is going to give the more efficiency of that particular old system classes. And here the CIDR IP address, okay, they are going to composed of two set of numbers. Okay, one is network address, okay, they are going to return as the prefix. Okay, if you like to like would see the normal address, okay, the normal address, okay, it is going to begin with the 192.255.255 and like the one more address that will be suffix address. Okay, it is going to indicate how many bits are okay, we are going to enter the inside the path. Okay, that is what the two address, okay, we are going to classify in the CIDR addressing. So the next topic is DHCP. See the DHCP, which is nothing but here like we are going to use for the DHCP, that will be a dynamic host configuration protocol. See the dynamic host configuration protocol, the name suggests here they are going to controls the network configuration of the host through a remote server. I am repeating, it is going to use to control the network configuration of the host through a remote server. The DHCP functionality, okay, it is going to comes by default. Okay, like it should be like contemporary operating system, and it is going to give the excellent what is that, time consuming, as well as the configuration of that particular network setting, as well as the like network devices, okay, it should be excellent, okay. And these all are the operations, okay, they are going to perform under the dynamic host configuration protocol. And like we are going to like distributing the fields, and what are the field, okay, we are going to use in the dynamic host configuration protocol. Here we are going to use for the field, that is OP, okay, the OP, which is nothing but type of the message, and like H type, okay, H type, okay, which is nothing but it should be a type of the hardware address, and as well as the HLAN, okay, HLAN, which is nothing but it is a length of the hardware address, okay. Like that we are going to use for the n number of fields, okay, like n number of labels, okay, flags, as well as the like flag, okay, which is nothing but it is going to give the flag registers, and as well as the like CI address, that will be a client IP address. YI address, okay, should be a like IP address assigned by the server to the client, okay. Again SI address, that will be a server address. Like that many number of, okay, many number of fields or labels, okay, we are going to use for the dynamic host. Whenever we are going to use that particular label, then only the system has to know, okay, what is the keyword, okay, for that what is the function have to do. So the next one is, okay, how to works for the DHCP. See, the DHCP, okay, they are going to works, okay, like it is going to contain many things. Here the DHCP discover, DHCP's offer, as well as the DHCP request, and DHCP like acknowledgement, then DHCP negative acknowledgement, and DHCP DHCP decline, okay. These all are the different, okay, functions, and they are going to perform in the this architecture. Here, like whenever like the IP address of the, like they are going the DHCP server, okay, initially they are going to fetching the IP address, okay, from the database, okay. If the IP address, okay, it is not getting okay, they are not performing any operations, because because they have to find out the server IP address, okay. Based on that IP address, okay, like they are going to send the data, okay, they are going to send the data, because like here we are going to use for the n number of clients, the client 1 and 2, okay, they are going to connect it into the subnet, okay, that will be a class A address, and client 3 and client 4 they are going to use for the class B address, okay. So this class A and class B address, okay, they are going to consider as here subnet A and subnet B. So this like subnet A and subnet B, okay, they have to what is that, interact with both others. So in between we are going to use for the one of the interface, okay, that will be a IP router. So this IP router, okay, which is going to make the transaction, okay, very easily, and like they are going to like whatever the data, okay, it is going to send from the client 3 as well as the client 4, okay, to the class B address, okay. Based on that class B address, okay, the router, it is going to helpful for sending the data to the DHCP server, okay. Once the server, okay, they are going to found the data from the client side, okay, that it is going to store in the IP address of the database, because the IP address database, okay, it is going to store all the clients of the data as well as the server of that particular dynamic host configuration protocol data. So that, okay, this is okay, they it is very easy transactions, okay. Whenever the client, they can send the data, they have to use the class A, class B, or it will be class C and class D address, okay. Based on that subnetting address, okay, the based on that subnetting address, okay, it is going to send to the our dynamic host server. The server, okay, it is going to send again to the IP address database, okay, because whenever we want that particular IP address, okay, we can retrieve it, okay, retrieve from the database, okay. And here this database, okay, it is going to work one of the backup device in the DHCP diagram. Like I told, it's going to provide n number of functions, that will be DHCP pack and NAG, that is negative acknowledgement, positive acknowledgement, and informations, okay. Then as well as the release the resources. And then one more thing here, discover, offer, okay, these all are request, okay, these all are the different functions, okay, they are going to perform the DHCP protocol. Then what is the DHCP discover function? The DHCP discover functions, okay, the message that makes the message, okay, that going to marks the beginning of the DHCP interactions between the client and server. This message is sent by a client, okay, or it may be a host, okay, that is connected to the local subnetwork. Okay, the local subnetwork they are going to use for the broadband broadcast messages. Okay, suppose the broadcast messages, okay, they are going to use the IP address will be 255.255.255.255. This is the broadcast address. This is going to send to the destinations of the IP address. Then what is the DHCP offer? The DHCP offer, which is nothing but here the message, okay, it is going to send to the response to the DHCP discover, but like a server to the host. Here, like what it will happen means, okay, that particular message it is going to move from the server to the client, or it is a host. Okay, this message contains the network configurations of the settings for the client that it is going to send the DHCP discover message. Then what is the DHCP request? So here, like the messages sent, okay, so sent in response to the DHCP offer. Okay, offer it is going to DHCP offer. They are going to indicating that the client has accepted the network configurations, okay, or not. Okay, if they are going to accepted the network configuration, they are going to send in the DHCP offer message from the server. Then what is the DHCP acknowledgement? The DHCP acknowledgement, which is nothing but here the message is going to send by the DHCP server in the response to DHCP request function to receive from the client. Okay, this message marks the end of the process that started with the DHCP discover. The DHCP acknowledgement message is not nothing. The DHCP acknowledgement, okay, message is nothing but an acknowledgement by the DHCP server. Okay, they are going to authorize the client. Okay, they are going to started by the network configuration. It is going to receive from the DHCP server earlier. So this is what the acknowledgement of the DHCP. So negative acknowledgement, there it is not able to receive any acknowledgement. They are going to send the negative acknowledgement. Like that, many number of functions, okay, they are going to work under the DHCP protocol. The next one is, what is the NAT? See, the NAT, which is nothing but here, okay, see the next one is NAT. Okay, the NAT, which is nothing but here we are going to use for the NAT, okay, in terms of network address translations. Okay, here how the address will be translated, okay, through the network. This is the topic of the network NAT. Okay, here the NAT, okay, similarly the network address translations is a process, okay, in which one or more local IP address is translated into one or more global IP address, or it may be a vice versa. I am repeating, the NAT, okay, which is nothing but it is a network address translations. Okay, this network address translations, a process in which one or more local IP address is translated into one or more global IP address, or it may be a vice versa. This is the definition of the NAT. Or in order to provide the internet access to the local host, okay, the NAT is generally operates on a router, or it is a firewall. Then like this NAT, that is network address translations, okay, they are going to they are going to working for generally a router, okay, is configured for the network address translation, okay, which is nothing but that is a router, okay, which have one interface in local, okay, local network. The local network, okay, which is already inside that particular network. Okay, here one interface one interface, okay, that should be a global network, okay, that we call it as the outside of the network. Okay, the like whenever a packet okay travels the outside of the network okay, that it is going to send to the inside of the network, then the NAT is converts that particular like local IP address into the global global IP address. Here the global IP address, which is nothing but public IP address. Okay, the local IP local IP address, which is nothing but it is a private IP address. Okay, whenever the packet will be travels okay, like travels outside the local like from like outside of the network into the local network, that will be inside of the network. Okay, during that time the network address translation okay, they are going to convert that particular local IP address into the global IP address. Okay, when the packet enters the local network, the global IP address is converted to the local IP address. Then okay, like the network address translations run out of the address, that is no address is left in the pool configured in the packets will be dropped, and an internet control message protocol, that is ICM or ICMP, that is the internet control message protocol, post unreachable packet to the destination is sent. This is the working of the NAT. Okay, so and this NAT they are going to use for the static network address translations. Okay, it is one of the single private IP address. Okay, this is going to mapped with the single public IP address. That means the private IP address is translated to a public IP address. Okay, like it is used in the web hosting. Okay, web hosting web hosting configurations. Okay, we are going to use in the static network. So this is the complete informations about the network address translations. Thank you.